Okay, so we've talked about the different portions of eschatology. We've talked about the pre-trib, mid-trib, and post-trib. People who the amillennial post-trib accommodates most denominations, have inherited that from the medieval church originally. Most of us that are fundamentalists, take the Bible very literally, fall on the other end. We're typically premillennial, pre-tribulational in our viewpoints. Therein lies the map, if you will, of eschatological views. From allegorical to literal, depends what your hermeneutics are. Now, many people say pre-tribulation is a new invention. That's not true. It's written in the Epistle of Barnabas in the 1st century, Irenaeus in his treatise against heresies, Hippolytus in the 2nd century, Justin Martyr, the early church fathers. One of the most interesting documents was just discovered a few years ago by Ephraim the Syrian. Most of us inherit our understanding of the church history from the Western church, Western Europe. You need to remember that the Eastern tradition goes deeper and longer by 1,000 years. The Greek traditions. And one of the most prolific writers in the Greek tradition was a guy by the name of Ephraim the Syrian, wrote in the 4th century. And he wrote most of his stuff has never been translated from Greek to English. In one of his sermons, the title of which was On the Last Times, the Antichrist and the End of the World. In one of his sermons, we're talking guy now, this is 4th century. It says, for all the saints and the elect of God are gathered prior to the tribulation that is to come, and are taken to the Lord lest they see the confusion that is to overwhelm the world because of our sins. This is a pre-trib position taught way back in the early Greek church. You can go all through the ancient commentaries. This is not a new idea. There are people opposed to this view that try to promote the idea it was invented in the early 1800s. That's not true. What did happen in the 1800s, a guy by the name of Emmanuel Lacunza popularized this. The guy by the name of Edward Irving and John Darby and Margaret MacDonald followed suit. And there was a big revival and an emphasis on this view. But you'll actually, if you do your homework in terms of church history, you'll discover these views were held by a minority from the beginning, all through history. They're the ones that are typically abused by the denominational interests, whether they're Catholic or Protestant.